Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the English with Gemma podcast, where we turn English practice into progress. So, I just want to start off firstly by saying this nose ring is not real. Before you call the police, you call my mom, you call my grandma. Everybody calm down. It's not a real nose piercing. If you are an audio only listener and you're on Spotify, very confused right now, I'm wearing a fake septum piercing, which means it's like in the middle of my nose. Normally I just have one nose piercing, but today I rediscovered my fake septum piercing and I was feeling a little bit edgy, a little bit mysterious. So I decided to put it on. And I just wanted to let everyone know that it's not real. So don't panic. Should I get a real one though? Does it suit me? Let me know in the comments. Just kidding. I would never, I would never get a septum ring because like this nose ring, the normal nostril ring, like you can just take it out, but the septum one, I feel like it's a little bit more difficult to take out. I'm not sure how it works, but I don't think I will ever get a real one, so you don't have to worry about that. Anyways, today's podcast is not about septum rings or piercings. Actually, I should do an episode on piercings. I did an episode on tattoos a few months ago. Anyways, that's not what we're talking about. Back to podcast mode. Sorry. Today's rough on my throat. It's 32 degrees in Alicante right now, Celsius. So it's hot, and I've got the AC blasting, which means the AC is on really strongly, and it's bothering my throat. But the alternative is to be sweaty and hot, so I think I would prefer to be cold with a little bit of a sore throat. Okay, that's enough. That's 2 full minutes of me just rambling and talking nonsense. So let's get into today's topic. It's something that I have always been fascinated by since I was a little girl, to be honest. Um, but recently, well, not that recently, like during the pandemic, all the way back in 2020 or 2021, when Spain was in a full lockdown. There were like no classes really, or I did have some classes, but they were all online, and I think my hours were reduced a lot. Anyways, long story short, I had nothing to do. I was very bored during lockdown, during quarantine. So I decided to buy a bunch of books. And I decided to buy books about space and astrophysics. And I spent a lot of time in my old apartment in Madrid. It had a balcony. And I spent a lot of time out on that balcony just staring at the stars. I even slept out there one night, I'm pretty sure. And the stars were so beautiful because, of course, there was a lot less light pollution because it was quarantine, nobody was on the streets, there were no cars. Um, like a lot of the building lights were not on, so you could really see the stars, and it was so beautiful. And I just remember reading these books about astrophysics and space and like the science of space, and I was obsessed. I was absolutely fascinated. It was all I could think about. And one of the books that really stuck in my brain was, I believe it's called Astrophysics for People in a Hurry, or like Astrophysics for Normal People, or something like that. And it's written by Neil deGrasse Tyson. And I really highly recommend this book for anyone who's interested in like life in general, because space and the universe and all of that stuff is such a big part of just existing. And it's really fascinating. And it's written in a way that's for like normal intelligence level people, not stupid people, but just not astrophysicists or people who know things about space. So it was really cool. It really piqued my interest in space exploration as well as just like how it all works. And in school, I was more interested in biology and chemistry rather than physics. So there was a lot of like basic knowledge that I was lacking. So it was just a really great book. And That is today's topic. Space, the mysteries of space. So get into your astronaut suit, your space suit, get on my spaceship and join me for a journey outside of Earth's orbit and like let's get lost in space together. So we are going far beyond our galaxy throughout the universe to explore the mysteries of space. We'll be talking about our solar system, black holes, space travel, and even the possibility of life beyond Earth. So, like me, if you've ever looked up at the night sky and wondered what's really out there, this episode is for you. So, let's get started. So, firstly, let's start with the basics. What is space? What exactly is space? Space, as we know it, is the vast, seemingly infinite, ever expanding region that exists beyond Earth's atmosphere. It's a place where there's no air to breathe, and gravity, as we experience it on Earth, is almost non existent. But here's something interesting. Space isn't completely empty, as we know. There are billions of stars, planets, moons, comets, and asteroids scattered throughout. There's also something called dark matter. And this is like where it gets so interesting. I remember the book that I was reading talked a lot about dark matter, and like scientists don't even really know what it is. Like it's so like brain-boggling and mind-bending to even like try to make sense of what these concepts are. Anyways, dark matter makes up most of the universe, but we still don't really know what it is. Even though we call it space, there's actually quite a lot going on out there. So when you think of space, you think like dark, empty, but of course there's like so many stars, beautiful planets, lots of cool stuff going on. So, when we talk about space, one thing that comes to mind is the vastness of it. And vastness means when something is very expansive, very, 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 very large. To give you some perspective, the closest star to Earth, other than the sun, of course, the sun is a star for anyone who doesn't know. I'm sure everybody knows that. Um, but maybe I wasn't exactly sure if the sun was a planet or a star when I first started reading this book. The sun is a star, a big star. So the closest star to Earth, other than the sun, is called Proxima Centauri. Did I pronounce that right? I put the phonetic pronunciation because I knew I was going to mess up that pronunciation. Proxima Centauri. Yes, I did. I did pronounce it right, everybody. It's about 4.24 light years away. That means even if you could travel at the speed of light, which is around 300,000 kilometers per second, it would still take you over 4 years to get there. That's what 4.24 light years means. So let's talk about the solar system. Let's zoom in on our own little on our own little corner of the universe. Not the center. Well, the center of our universe basically is the solar system. The solar system consists of the sun, which is a giant ball of burning gas, and everything that orbits, that circles around it, including 8 planets, moons, asteroids, and comets. The inner planets are Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. And they're also called the rocky planets because they have solid surfaces, like you can walk on them. Earth is, of course, the one that we're all most familiar with, but Mars is especially interesting because scientists believe it may have once had conditions suitable for life. Really quick side note, I read a science fiction book where they suggested that Mars used to be like Earth, like it was totally habitable, it was green and blue and beautiful, and it sustained life. And then basically the human race or whatever alien race, the inhabitants of Mars, which used to be like Earth, they messed everything up. Climate change, blah, blah, blah. There was a disaster. And then we moved to Earth like millions, millions, millions of years ago. That was the plot of the book. And I thought that was so interesting because maybe at one point, billions of years ago, we actually lived on Mars the planet got messed up and then we moved to Earth. And now we're thinking of moving to Mars again. If you talk about like, when people say what's going to happen when we like mess up the Earth beyond repair, people are like, "Oh, we'll just live on Mars." And it's interesting to think that maybe we used to live on Mars and then we're like going back there. Anyways, this is just like a conspiracy theory slash the plot of a book, not scientific fact. So let's get back to the facts. So that is why we send rovers and missions to Mars because we are trying to explore the possibility of future colonization, which is so crazy to think about. It's so crazy to think about, you guys. I really hope we can save our planet and we can stop all of this like horrible detrimental damage that we're doing to the environment and global warming, global climate change. Because I don't know about you guys, but I really don't want to live on Mars. It doesn't sound ideal to me. So, let's talk about our outer planets. That includes Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. These are called the gas giants, except for Neptune and Uranus, which are more like ice giants because they're made of ice. Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system, and these facts are mind-boggling. Jupiter is so massive that you could fit more than 1,300 Earths inside of it. Like, take a second for that to sink in. Jupiter is so large you could fit 1,300 Earths inside of it. Saturn's rings are one of the most iconic features of the solar system. Did you know that Saturn's rings are actually made of billions of ice particles? Some are as small as grains of sand, while others are as large as houses. Can you imagine an ice particle as big as a house? Crazy. Each planet is unique, and there's still so much to learn about them. Scientists are constantly discovering new stuff in space, like constantly. New moons, rings, and even potential signs of water, which sustains life, as we know, in places that we never expected. That's what makes space exploration so exciting. The more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know. And a lot of people say, like, why do we need to explore space? But I think it's like our innate default, like our innate function as a human beings is to explore beyond our limits, to push the boundaries, to see how far we can go. And like, it's just, it's obvious that that would include like venturing off of our planet, right? I do think that there is an argument to say that we should be focusing more on our planet and the problems going on within Earth and not looking to space to kind of solve those problems. And I do definitely agree with that. Like, I think that, living on Mars and just being like, oh, well, let's look at other planets that we could live on once we totally mess up our planet. And it's just like, I feel like we should put more effort into fixing our planet, rather than just looking at planet B, plan B, right? So let's get into something that I love. It's black holes. So you guys have probably all heard of Stephen Hawking, who is deceased now, but he is a super duper duper smart guy, and I believe he's a astrophysicist and probably a whole bunch of other things. And he did a lot of work on black holes. He's written like so many books. Stephen Hawking's books are a little bit more challenging. Like you kind of need to have a background in physics or like know what he's talking about. I found that they were very dense, very information rich, and also they had like a lot of concepts in there that were not being explained like to the average person. So if you are going to read Stephen Hawking's books, go for it, but they definitely are a bit more challenging. The movie about Stephen Hawking's life is quite interesting. It's called The Theory of Everything, and it stars what's his name? Who plays Stephen Hawking? Eddie Redmayne. The guy, you know him. He plays the main guy in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them from the Harry Potter universe. Yeah, Eddie Redmayne is like super, super famous. Anyway, he plays Stephen Hawking in The Theory of Everything, and it's a good movie. So, why am I talking about Stephen Hawking? Because I was about to start talking about black holes. So, let's talk about black holes, something that has fascinated scientists and science fiction fans for decades. A black hole. How does it form? I'm going to do this in very basic terms because I don't know what I'm talking about. This is just research from the internet. If anyone who's watching like actually has a degree in physics and like knows what they're talking about, feel free to comment below and correct me. Or don't correct me because I know I'm saying the right things, but feel free to add to what I'm saying because I'm not giving many details. Basically, a black hole forms when a massive star collapses at the end of its life cycle. So stars die. They die eventually, like everything, energy, you know. Energy is never destroyed, it's just recycled, but it does have to come to kind of an end. So when stars die and collapse, they create black holes. They create an object with gravity that's so strong that not even light can escape it. Like, that's why it's a black hole, because light can't even get in there because the gravity is just pulling in everything. Because the bigger the gravity of something, the more pull it has, like the more gravitational pull. So, like, the bigger the planet, the more moons it has, because the more things are going to be attracted to its gravity and want to orbit it. I'm pretty sure that's right. I think I remember that from my book. I might be totally wrong, but I'm saying it confidently. So, believe me. Black holes are mysterious because they defy our understanding of the universe. Once something crosses the event horizon, which is it's like so scary to think about. The event horizon is the point of no return. So once you get so close to the black hole that you get sucked in, you're done. Like we don't know where you're going, we don't know what's happening to you, but you are past the point of no return. You've passed the event horizon. It is impossible to know what happens to objects that are sucked into black holes. Some scientists think that black holes might even lead to other parts of the universe, like a time travel thing. Like you get sucked into a black hole and you end up in another part of the universe or in a different dimension. It's so fascinating to me. And these are, of course, all theories because we don't know for sure, but black holes continue to be one of the biggest mysteries of our universe. Okay, here's a mind-blowing fact. The largest black hole discovered so far, called TON 618 or TON 618, I don't know how the NASA people say it. It is about 66 billion. Like these numbers are so large that our brains can't even comprehend what that actually means. 66 billion times the mass of our sun. The mass is like how big something is. So 66 billion times larger than the sun. Can you imagine that? No, you can't because nobody's brain can actually fathom 66 billion. It's almost impossible to comprehend the sheer size and power of these objects. So, getting into our next section is all about space exploration. So, like I said at the beginning of this episode, I think humans have always been fascinated by the stars. But it wasn't until the 20th century that we actually began, that's not a word, that we actually began to explore space. In 1969, astronaut Neil Armstrong became the first person to walk on the moon. Now, if you are a big conspiracy theorist, you might think that the moon landing was fake. And who knows? We don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know what to believe. I always have an open mind about these things. His famous word, I can't speak. I said famous. His famous words were, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Those words still resonate with us today. Since then, we've sent rovers to Mars. We've built the International Space Station that just floats around in space. It orbits Earth, and you've got like Russian cosmonauts, you've got Americans on there, Chinese, like International, of course, space station. I'm pretty sure I read a news article recently that said some astronauts are stuck on the space station and they can't return home for some reason because I believe they come back to Earth in these like pods that just like get shot down to Earth. But for some reason, they're like stuck up there for a couple years. And like, I don't think enough people are talking about that. I feel like I don't know if I read the article, but I think I scrolled past it on Instagram, but I would be interested to learn more about that because that's crazy. Can you imagine just being stuck in space and your family's just sitting at home? It's like the plot for Interstellar, also a great movie. If you haven't watched Interstellar, please go watch it immediately. So since 1969, we've sent rovers to Mars, we've built the International Space Station, and we've even sent probes to the far reaches of our solar system. I believe a probe is like something like a robot or a satellite which can like take samples with an arm. One of the most famous missions is the Voyager 1 probe, which was launched in 1977 and it's still traveling through space. I don't actually know if that's true, to be honest with you. I'm gonna fact check myself real quick. Voyager 1 probe. Voyager 1 probe, is it still in orbit? Let's see if this is true. Both Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, this is from the NASA official website, have reached interstellar space and each continue their journey deeper into the cosmos. Okay, so Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 are still floating out there in space. That's pretty cool. Um, so Voyager 1 is now more than 14 billion miles from Earth, making it the most distant human-made object. That's cool. But space exploration is about more than just curiosity. It's about the future. Companies like SpaceX, I don't like Elon Musk, but that's fine. That's his company. SpaceX are working on making space travel more accessible with plans to send humans to Mars in the near future. Space tourism, where regular people could go on short trips to space, is also becoming a reality. If you go on the SpaceX website, Elon Musk's company's website, one of his many companies, and you search space travel, you can literally look at the packages that they have for traveling to Mars. Of course, you have to be like a billionaire and they're super expensive. And I'm pretty sure you have to go through like intensive, extensive training, like space training. And I honestly just think like that's so crazy. I feel like rich people just get bored and just want to do crazy shit. Sorry, crazy stuff. My channel is monetized now. I can't be saying any swear words. But yeah, I think we should do exactly what we did with the Titanic submarine, where let the rich people go first. Let them try it out. And if they die, they die. I just think that's really dumb, honestly. Like, I can't believe that those people went down in that submersible, in the Titanic submersible, which, by the way, if you're not aware, it imploded and every single person on board died. And they knew it wasn't safe from the beginning. I mean, the friggin' thing it was controlled with the game controller. Anyways, I'm just saying, let the rich people do what they want. I am poor and I'm totally fine with staying on Earth. Let me guys know. No, let me know what you guys think about that. Would you travel to space if you had the chance? If it was safe? If it was totally safe, like yeah, but I don't think anything like this is totally safe. So yeah, let the billionaires go first and they can report back to us because I'm gonna stay on Earth. So yeah, space travel might seem like science fiction, you guys, but we are getting closer than ever to making it a part of our daily lives. Imagine a place where people live and work in space or even on other planets. So the next thing I want to talk about is there life out there? Is there life in our universe? This is one of the biggest questions that we don't have any proof of. We don't have an answer to. Are we alone in the universe? Scientists have been searching for signs of life beyond Earth for decades, and the discovery of water on planets like Mars or moons like Europa give us hope that life might exist elsewhere in the solar system. But we're also looking beyond our own backyard, beyond our own solar system. We're going way out and we are searching for extraterrestrial intelligence. It's actually a program called SETI, SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. It's a project that listens for signals from other civilizations. And while we haven't really found anything yet, the vastness of space means that there are still countless possibilities. It's exciting to think that in the future we might discover life that exists elsewhere in the universe. My personal opinion on this is like, yes, 100% there's life out there because, sorry, my alarm went off and I got interrupted for 2 seconds. But I was just saying, I definitely believe that there is life on other planets because imagine how vast our universe is. And I'm not just talking about our galaxy, okay? We have the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy that we're in, which is huge. You can't even comprehend how big it is. And then when you zoom out of that, there are so many other galaxies. And then you zoom even further out, and the universe is constantly expanding. It's always getting bigger. So to think that we are the only type of life, and I'm not saying like humans or like who knows, aliens, but like to think that we're the only type of life that exists in such a vast space is like literally insane. Like there's no way that like there is life. There's no way that we're the only ones when you think of how big it is out there. And honestly, the aliens, if they do exist, are probably so smart and so advanced that they look at humans and they're like, you guys look like you're having a rough time down there on Earth. We're just gonna stay here with our advanced technology. And they probably like live forever and they're probably just looking at us like, yikes, you guys still have to deal with Donald Trump and like have global warming. You know what I mean? Like, why would they want to contact us? I wouldn't want to contact us. So, like, think about it. Anyways, so whether it's microscopic life or, like I say, super, super intelligent civilizations, the search for extraterrestrial life is one of the most exciting areas of space exploration. And who knows, maybe one day we will make contact with beings from another planet. I would probably be like, take me with you. I don't want to live on this earth anymore with Donald Trump. So, what does the future of space travel hold? Looking to the future, the possibilities are really endless when it comes to space travel. One of the most exciting developments, I think, would be this plan to send humans to Mars. I think it's insane, but it's interesting, right? Living on Mars would be very different from living on Earth. For starters, the atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide. And if you know that, we don't breathe carbon dioxide, so that would probably be a problem. So we would need special habitats and life support systems to survive. There are also plans to build a permanent base on the moon, which could serve as a launch point for future missions to Mars and beyond. Because, like, think about when you go from Earth to the moon, it's pretty far. So they're thinking of building a base on the moon so that going from the moon to Mars would be much shorter and probably much easier for astronauts. And let's not forget space tourism, like I was talking about before, like Blue Origin or Virgin Galactic. They are already making it possible for people to take brief trips into space. If you're interested in that, feel free to Google Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic. We might even see space hotels where you can spend a few nights orbiting Earth. That sounds terrifying. It's incredible to think how far we've come in just a few decades and how much more we have to explore. Who knows, maybe in our lifetime, you guys, we're going to see humans living on other planets. So that is our little journey through space today. Thank you so much for joining me. I know it was kind of a silly episode, but this is a topic that I'm really interested in and that I think is really fun. And yeah, we've explored our solar system. What else did we talk about? Black holes, looking for aliens or extraterrestrial life, and the exciting future of space travel. The universe is vast and mysterious, and we've only really just scratched the surface of what's out there. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on our cosmic adventure. I hope you enjoyed the style of today's episode. And like always, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow my Spotify podcast. I'm English with Gemma on Instagram, TikTok. What else? What else? What else? If you're interested in classes with me, you can check out my website, English with Gemma, for all of my class info. Until next time, bye.